There we go.
Okay.
We're live.
Hey, how are you?
It is
Sounds.
5:03 and I call to order this May 13th, 2025 public meeting of the Town of Silverton Historic Review Committee. Can we please have roll call?
Oh, that's okay. I can do it. Carl Ficker,
Here.
Melissa Childs,
Here.
Alex Lanis,
Here.
Maria Samora,
Here.
and Mike Gariak.
Here.
Okay, there we go.
Okay, we have a quorum. So all members should have this evening's agenda before them. Do we have any requested amendments to the agenda or the order of its items? I guess there's only one item, so that's kind of moot, but we good to proceed? Okay. Okay, we will now move to agenda item 25-04 HDO, a request to build an accessory structure within the historic district overlay at 1557 Green Street. And staff, do you have a presentation for us?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go through this presentation. My notes for the presentation, normally I can see them and I can't right now, so you'll just have to bear with me. I might have to wing this a little bit. But before we jump into the staff presentation, I just wanted to highlight a few of the key land use code changes that pertain to this particular application. And I sent you all a memo with an overview of kind of all of the land use changes that pertain to this committee. But I just thought, since this is our first application under the new land use code, I would highlight a few. The first is that the Historic Preservation Committee is now a decision-making committee. So in an effort to expedite and simplify our application reviews, especially our historic preservation reviews, we have made this committee the decision makers. So these applications no longer go to the Board of Trustees for final decision. Any questions on that?
Yeah, if someone's denied, do they have the right to appeal to the board?
There is an appeal process. Yep.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I thought so. I just wanted to verify.
Great question. Application reviews such as this one take place in a public meeting. That's not required to be a public hearing. So we are in a public meeting, it's being streamed, it was noticed, but this is not a public hearing. And so the major changes that come from that is our noticing requirements. So we no longer have to notice these public hearings 3 to 4 weeks in advance, which is really helpful because it gets applications on the agenda quicker. And then the other big change is that you're not required to open public comment. So the procedure for these application reviews are staff presentation, applicant presentation, committee discussion, and then committee action. Does that make sense to everyone? And then, of course, updated review criteria. And so that is included in, that was included in the memo I sent you. That's included in your packet for this particular application, and we will go through it for this application review. Any questions on these changes?
No.
Okay. Great. Well, with that, we can jump in to the application review. So Steve Rich, who's with us tonight, submitted a historic district overlay major application on behalf of the San Juan County Historical Society and San Juan County with a request to build an accessory structure located at 1557 Green Street in the P Public Zoning District and the Historic Overlay District. And the applicant proposes constructing a 1,280 square foot accessory structure on the northwest corner of a 60,000 square foot lot, accessory to the San Juan County Museum located at 1557 Green Street. And it is, as you can see in the site plan, abutting Reese Street and abutting the river. And this is just a view of the project site. So this is kind of the county campus, which is a part of the historic overlay district, but it is, slightly removed and has slightly different architectural features and different functions as the rest of Green and Blair Street, which can be taken into account for this review. And here is the site. I know you are all familiar with it, but this area here is where the accessory structure will go. And so, yeah, here's an overview of the site. So the purpose of this review, so per Silverton Municipal Code, Historic District Overlay Review major applications are required for all new construction, and those applications are reviewed by the Historic Preservation Committee. So after a comprehensive review, staff found that the proposed accessory structure meets all the underlying zoning district standards, including the public zoning district standards, accessory structure standards, and townwide design standards. The role of you all tonight is to review the proposed structure based on the standards for new construction in the historic district overlay. And those standards are outlined on this slide as well as in your packet. And we will go through them. So the first section of code states that new construction within the historic district overlay shall be differentiated from the contributing properties, but shall be compatible with the historic materials, features, size, scale, and proportion and massing to protect the integrity of the historic district overlay and its environment. And the second section of code is similar. The review criteria is that the structure is compatible with the property and district's current design, materials, features, size, scale, and proportion, and massing. So here are the elevations of the proposed structure. You will see that there is rough saw lumber for siding here. There are dormers with vertical windows. The roof is metal. This elevation shows the different layers of the roof, but this is, the roof will look like this metal here. And then there are lumber columns. This is a pole building, meaning that these poles are the structural integrity of the second floor. And this structure, and I'll let Steve talk about this more when he presents. But the purpose of this structure is to maintain and to house some of the items that are too large to fit into the museum. And the structure is open to enhance and to facilitate public viewing of these items. And then the second story here is enclosed and will be used for storage. And so comparing the materials to the site, as I noted, the materials include rough sawn lumber, which you can see on site already here, and metal roof. The metal roof will be the same material and similar to the museum. The proposed design includes dormers. You can see dormers on the property, as well as vertical windows and wooden columns here. And the size of the accessory structure doesn't really come into play in this review since it is accessory. So it does, per code requirements, need to be smaller and subordinate to the primary structure on the property. So staff finds that the application meets all of the requirements in Silverton Municipal Code Section 15840. And so staff recommends approval of this application as presented. The Historic Preservation Committee can take the following action: to approve the application, approve the application with conditions, deny the application, or table the review of the application to a date certain. Here are sample motions. These are also included in your packet, and I'm happy to bring this screen back up later when you're ready to make a motion. But with that, I'll hand it over to you for applicant presentation, and then committee discussion, and then committee action.
Thank you, Lucy. Applicant, please state your name and make your presentation.
I'm Steve Rich with the San Juan County Historical Society. And basically, this is a project that Zeke wanted to do before he died. And we need additional space. We have some rather large pieces of equipment that were related to mining that are scattered throughout the county in storage that we'd like to get down because we feel they're important to complete the picture of the mining in the area. One of which is an air compressor that is 23 feet long and it's 10 feet wide and 14 feet tall. And it was used in the Sunnyside mine up at Lake Emma area. And it was operating 2 miles underground. And it was a Herculean task to get it in there in the first place. And then when they shut down, we were acquiring a lot of their surplus equipment. And we had to take it out and we've got it in storage now. So we really can't put something like that outside without the risk of it being, damaged from the weather. So this would protect it and yet it would be open for viewing with the open sides on the building so that the public can wander through and look at that and several other pieces that are scattered around the yard so we can kind of clean the area up a little bit and make it a little bit more presentable. And we do have quite a few people. I don't know if you folks are familiar with the backside or the northeast side there. We've got a bunch of really interesting equipment there. And so we'd like to tidy it up and make it a little bit more exhibit friendly. So this building would be a real plus. And the other aspect is storage is a real issue for every museum. And it was about 10 years ago, we added 2,500 square feet to the museum building and it is totally full. And so we've got to have some more room. And I went to the county commissioners and they signed off on it and gave us our blessing since it's their ground to go ahead and proceed with this project. It will, once it's constructed and stained, it's going to look like it's been there as long as the rest of the museum has. We're very conscious about trying to keep the architectural style the same. And basically it's similar to how they built the old mills and mining structures in the area here with the board and batten siding and the large posts, beams, and that sort of thing. So basically that's pretty much it. Like I say, it'll be hard to tell in a year or two after the patina weathers a little bit to tell that it's a new building. So it should fit right in with that whole complex. And surprisingly enough, even though we haven't really figured out the best way to handle it, we get an awful lot of people going back there right now and looking at the equipment that's back there. And a lot of it's pretty fascinating stuff. So we haven't figured out a way to tell the public, go back there. But I think that'll be something that we can work on. And of course, this building will help because it'll be highly visible. And it's not really going to be too visible from Green Street because of the tree barrier there. And it's kind of screened in, so I don't think we'll have any issues with local doing it. Most everybody is supportive of the museum activities. So, but if there are any other questions.
Anybody? No?
I'm just kind of confused exactly where it's going to be. I saw the pictures on it, but it's.
In here,
Oh,
right,
okay.
right here,
I
right
see.
directly behind the building,
Okay.
right? The roof
Yeah.
line is gonna be,
I see.
Between the building and the creek.
that's why the trees
Okay, cool. Yeah.
it's gonna be kind of in those trees.
Yeah, I was really confused, scratching my head on that one, but
Yeah.
that answered my question.
Okay.
Basically, the existing peak is just gonna carry, it's gonna be in line with that, right?
It's
That's
accessible.
Basically, it's
directly behind the peak of the existing.
pretty much, yeah, but it'll be, as far as the footprint, it'll be perpendicular to
Its
existing.
roof will be perpendicular to the,
So that way the open bays will be visible from, as you come up Reese Street. So you'll be able to see the equipment.
Cool.
understood.
Thank you.
I have one thing that came to mind as I was looking at it was the walking grade level inside.
Mhm.
How high up above grade on ground will that be?
Well, I think we have to go as low to the, existing grade as we can because we got to be able to get the equipment in and out and make it easy
Right.
for someone to step in. So it probably be approximately as much as a single step on a stair.
Because above like 30 inches, above 30 inches, we'd have to have a railing.
Railing, yeah, no, this is
So-
gonna be flat, and
Okay.
of course, the ground slopes off, so
Right.
we're gonna probably have to put some fill in there and do that, but the access to the building on, if you're looking at the building on the left side, will be
Okay,
like so.
just something that we didn't discuss and I just want to
Right.
make sure
Right,
I don't want to change the look of it
Sure.
and drop in the fact that you have to have railing there.
yeah, no,
if it's
we'll
too
work that
high.
out so that
Okay.
everything's fine.
Great. Thank you.
The other?
No? No? Okay, we'll move on to public comment. If anyone from the public wishes to make comment regarding the application we have just heard, now is the time to do so.
And Melissa, because this is not a public hearing, you're not required to make public comment. So if you all want to make public comment, that's just a decision the committee has to come to together,
Okay,
since we changed the procedure.
right, so I guess this is not considered a hearing. This is,
That's right.
okay, so this is public comment for this meeting.
Yeah, so if you, this is, right now would be.
At our discussion, whether or not we want to do that. I would be in favor of having public comment. How does the rest of the committee feel?
Yeah, I'm in favor of public comment, although is there public?
I don't think there's any public, but just, yeah. Future,
No, but you
Yeah.
gotta say, you gotta keep the door open.
Right,
yeah,
yeah.
Okay.
I agree.
okay, then, this is the time for public comment, and there's nobody on Zoom, and there's nobody in the room, so, we'll move on. Committee discussion. So, we will now allow the committee to discuss the application in question. Committee members may also ask questions directly of the applicant or directly to staff. Seems kind of like a no-brainer, this one. I mean, it's going to look like the museum already looks, right?
Right, and the museum is a real focal point for the community,
Sure is.
you know.
The whole complex is very good looking, like when they should have that
I mean,
picture.
frankly, the ugliest part of the complex is the back end, so.
That will be cleaned up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
Can we make a motion?
We can make a motion.
I move to accept this application. Oh, what's the motion? I move to approve application 2504 HDO, a request to build an accessory structure within the historic district overlay at 1557 Green Street.
I second the motion.
Okay. We have a motion and a second, and we would like to call the question, roll call.
Okay. Carl Schnicker.
Yes.
Let me put this down. Melissa Childs.
Yes.
Alex Lannis.
Yes.
Maria Samora.
Yes.
Mike Gariak.
Yes.
All right,
Okay, the motion passes.
thank you.
Right, and so we will move on to communication. Do any members of the committee have any related reports, announcements, updates, or communications they'd like to share at this time?
I do not.
I think we had one more thing on our agenda, which
Oh, I apologize.
the time of the meeting.
Discussion on HPC meeting time. Okay, so we need to move on to that agenda item. So I will let staff give us background on that.
Yeah,
Gloria, you
I
go.
think you all received a letter from Jesse in response to our meeting times. So Jesse Rowe, our chair, has a conflict during this time that at 5 o'clock, and she's requesting that we meet at 4 o'clock. And we had discussed this as a committee at the beginning of 5 o'clock being the time where people get off work and they would be able to present their applications, more simple applications, like, you know, what are some examples?
Like a small exterior modification.
Yeah.
Like a new materials on your building that you might not be able to or want to take work off to attend a meeting for. Additionally, I know some of our committee members work 9 to 5s or 8 to 4s and need that time, need some more time before they can attend a meeting, and potentially future members.
So it's all up to your discussion. Those are staff's thoughts about the meeting times.
Okay. Committee?
I'm personally fine with 4 o'clock, I think, people have a major project that they want to get done that has to go through historic review. I mean, people are gonna be here. I think also during work hours is a normal time to have a meeting anyway, for some of these things. It works fine with my schedule.
How about your schedule?
Yeah, I can make 4 o'clock work, but that's tough for me. And I think, just looking forward, I think that's also, it might preclude participation on the committee in the future or on the, in the process. And I think 5 o'clock makes a lot of sense. I don't think that that's too late. I think that, I don't feel strongly either way, but I would lean towards keeping our meeting times at 5.
Well, it was initially presented to us as the fact that some people work. As a retiree, it doesn't affect me, but people who are working, a lot of people don't get up till 5. As a school teacher, I understand that your job's never done, so I'm open to either way. But I think Carl had a good point that people in the future, some members may not be able to come at 4 o'clock. So they may not, be able to participate on the committee, and that would be unfortunate.
I think it'd also be unfortunate if Jesse can't be on the committee, though.
Well, I agree, but
And can we talk about, like Jesse's term? Do we know? I wonder if a compromise isn't to we change it to 4 o'clock for the remainder of her term, and then we can readdress it.
that's a good proposal.
That's a great proposal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure.
Right, that might take some research.
I can look. But I think that where staff is coming from, our concern is that through this land use code process, we worked really hard to make sure that these planning review processes are easy. And that extends to the time that meetings are and making sure that people are around to attend the meetings. So I just want to advocate for that one more time, because there are people that wouldn't be able to attend this meeting if we change it to 4.
And can I ask, is Jesse can't be here past 5 or?
She has an ongoing 5:15 Tuesday commitment, a work commitment.
I understand changing it for the public because one person can't be here. That's concerning to me, but that's just my opinion.
I agree. I think that it's a useful, I think we want to definitely accommodate as many people as we can. And I think that this has brought up a good conversation because it's worth considering these things. But I think that the decision needs to be based around the good of the community.
Right.
I don't think really a difference between 4 and 5 o'clock is gonna make that much of a difference for the community. I I really don't.
Well, it may for people who have to work till 5.
7?
Yeah.
7. We're good. We're gonna let them deliberate. Thanks.
Yeah, that's a fair point, but, maybe is there? I don't know what a compromise solution would be either.
Well, I like your idea of
Yeah,
until Jesse's off the committee, and then we could look at it again. It's not written in stone.
That's right.
Is it specified in the land use code as 5 PM?
It's in our bylaws.
Okay. It's in our bylaws, and so do we have to amend the bylaws?
Yeah, we would have to amend the bylaw, which isn't,
Which is easy enough.
No.
And do we need to make a motion here today?
I think direction would be what we're looking for.
Well, I propose that we research when Jesse's term concludes and that we amend the bylaws accordingly to 4 PM through the remainder of her term. And then we put it back on the agenda at the end of her term. And likely would go back to 5 o'clock. But just to
Right.
accommodate the volunteers that are serving and
I think the only thing that would be difficult is just remembering
remembering to
to change it back
Yeah.
to 5 o'clock.
True that.
Calendar reminder.
True that. Okay, so that would be a recommendation.
Okay,
Okay, very good.
thank you.
Okay. Back to communications. Anybody have anything to communicate? I had a question just on process and I noticed where right behind us here, where that garage was converted into an apartment. And there were exterior modifications made to the building and it didn't seem to go through the review process. So I understand some of it's administrative, but it says that exterior changes have to go through the review process. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so did I miss something there?
No, I did not receive an application for that.
Same thing goes for the old Avalanche.
That did go through an administrative review.
Oh, it did?
Yes. And so what we do for our administrative review processes is that I submit the notice of decision to the Board of Trustees for review. And so whenever an administrative review happens, it goes to the Board of Trustees. But moving forward, if you guys would like to see notice of decision, I think that we could include that in your guys'.
I was just curious because it said that exterior alterations had to go through the review committee. So in the Avalanche, that's an exterior.
There's minor and then there's major.
Okay.
And what they were doing were minor. They qualify
Okay.
as minor. So like if painting your building is a minor renovation, so that can go through that can go through a staff.
Okay, well, thanks for that clarification. And I will just note that, the previous owners of the Avalanche were requested to remove those skis years ago. And so I think there should have been a time where it was like, okay, you're now going to be fined daily. I mean, there has to be some teeth to some of this. And I didn't see
yeah.
any teeth to that because I was part of the decision where they said that those skis need to come down.
I thought the skis went through the board and
No.
accepted.
No, they were asked to take them down. And so no big deal. The skis are gone. The place is looking great. It's all good. I just think there needs to be somewhere in there that there's some teeth to this stuff. And that because I guarantee if you said $100 a day, the skis would have come down. So that's just my point for.
Well, and the same thing goes for all these people who take out building permits to build a home and 7 years later, their house isn't finished. Like, do they get forever?
Bevan can speak to that, I believe.
Yeah, Bevan, do they get forever?
No, they don't. So I'm addressing that with some of them. I'm gonna enforce the 2 years and after they're gonna be
Because there's
charged.
so many houses, more than 2 years, way
I know.
more than 2 years.
So it's good for 2 years and you can renew it.
Well, yes, you can renew it, but it's gonna be this,
Cost you to renew it.
it'll cost
Right.
double the permit fee.
And then, so the town of Silverton is losing money when we let these people slide on all, your point is really good. Like, where's the teeth in any of we make all these bylaws, all these rules, land use codes, and they don't get followed. So what's the point?
Well, I'm following up on people that are extending beyond, and I'm starting to let them know. And, that they're beyond that and there's going to be a cost for it. And I've also stated, I want the exterior done. If you want to take your time to complete the inside, that's fine.
I agree.
The other part of it is utilities will start once the billing cycle for utilities will start once they get their tap. So they have incentive to
Right.
complete the project.
Yeah.
We faced it with some people who have wanted to alter that. And that's a problem. We realized that I need every incentive for people
To finish.
to finish, especially homeowners.
Yeah.
When there's a contractor involved, it gets done quickly. But when homeowners are involved, it's a red flag for me. And I will be pressing with everyone going forward. And I'll let them know in the permit meeting that if we go beyond the 2 years,
Ante back up.
yeah,
Yep.
And are we gonna hold the people accountable who right now have been working on their house for 7 years?
yeah. I mean, I'd like to,
Paper there.
right, I'd like to know who's on for 7, but that's certainly,
I can tell you. I'm not gonna say it here, but
no, that's fine. We can talk about Apple.
Well, exteriors that haven't been done. but-
And exterior, if you have, just the plastic, what's it called? The ice, no, it's not even that. What is that?
Paper barrier.
Thank you, the top barrier. Tyvek, yeah. Is that like, can you get your CO and be done, or does it have to be exterior sided?
Exterior's gotta be done.
Okay, well then I'm with you on that.
On the exterior,
it's just completely ridiculous, the way these people get away with that.
So when we were talking about the one that didn't go through review, which one was that? What?
Oh, well, they said they didn't put an application in, so.
We can talk about that one after.
Yeah, it's not, I just was curious about the process.
Yeah.
And, that would have qualified as a major, right?
I'd have to see what.
Well, they added windows,
Okay.
they added windows and doors that weren't there before. Yeah, so it's part of it was the Cruel Elephant,
Uh-huh.
and it used to have a garage.
Right, I
And
know
they
what you're
turned,
talking.
which I think is brilliant. We need more.
One G.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're-
we need more
they're-
housing. I think it's brilliant. I just noticed it did not look historical. It looks nice,
so that's probably on me because I should have reviewed it and checked in with Lucy in terms of determining whether or not that needed to go
Go
through
through
review.
review. Yeah.
They are the same windows that are on the other main house. So, I mean, they're doing a good job with that. They,
It looks good.
yeah.
Yes.
But that's totally on me for overlooking the fact that it was still in the district.
And I got clarification on the major versus the minor thing. And so, yeah, I just wanted to understand is all.
Yeah, and that's all outlined in the procedural section of the land use code. So if you guys ever need to refer back to that, if you ever get questions about it, there's the major section and the minor section, and it lays out what qualifies as each.
And now what about violations? Is it addressed in there in our land use code?
There is,
Like in the example of somebody is requested to make a change and they do or do not, is there a timeline or a fine, or is that addressed in the code?
there is a violation section of the land use code, yeah. Mhm.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Yeah, and just so you can see what these new notices of decision look like in our board meeting packet from yesterday. You can take a look at the notice of decision for the avalanche, for example, and hopefully we'll get
Yeah.
those included in these.
And
packets too. That'd be great.
they'll include that for us in the future. So just to keep us abreast of what's happening.
And then Lucy links it to the actual packet. So you get the notice of decision on what was done and then
You can refer.
to the full packet.
Cool.
So
Very good. Okay. Anything else? Okay, it looks like that the committee business is concluded. May we have a motion to adjourn?
To adjourn.
Second.
Okay, this meeting is adjourned. It is 5:30.